coronavirus. If you're watching this video, then I expect you've seen the video I made earlier this week on the subject of the Great Replacement theory and immigration. I'm not going to go over it here, so you should probably go watch that if you haven't seen it already. At the end of that video, I said that I might be deleting it soon because I wasn't sure about the reception that I would get from it, and I was pleasantly surprised by how well the video went down with my audience when it first was posted. The people who watch it are mostly just my subscribers, as with all my videos. And I was getting a lot of sort of positive comments saying that I had been thoughtful and nuanced, and no one was accusing me of being hateful or racist, which is what I was kind of afraid of. There are people I know in real life who watch my videos, and I was afraid that they would judge me if they found out what I had been thinking about. But that turned out to be an unfounded fear. And instead what happened is the video started to get watched a lot by people that had never seen my channel before. The video was shared on a few online forums for what you could call the alt-right, white supremacists, white nationalists. And subsequently I've been getting a lot more subscribers, presumably from those crowds, but also from the YouTube algorithm. And the comments section under that video was just wild. To anyone who dared to write a comment doubting the accuracy of the Great Replacement theory, there were very many responses to any kinds of comments like that that were less than kind, shall we say. A great many of the comments under that video were rather anti-Semitic as well. But what was surprising about it was that these white nationalist types were really in favour of my videos. They seemed to like it a lot. In the forums where it was posted that I went to read myself just to see what they were saying, a lot of them were happy that like a normie like me, which is how they see me, they thought it was good that someone as normal as I am was starting to come around to their way of thinking as they saw. Some of them hoped that I could be a new kind of socially acceptable face for their movement, and I could start to convert more people. And so I'm making this video as a sequel to that first one, and this one is targeted mostly at the new subscribers, the people who found my channel through that video. Whoever you are, I don't know what you believe, but it seems a great many of you are a believer in the Great Replacement, and although I have to admit a lot of the attention that I was getting from these types of communities was rather flattering, it's also, I think, founded on an incorrect assumption. Although it probably is absolutely correct to call me a normie, as I said in the video originally, I have actually been in contact with these kinds of ideas for a few years now, and I probably know a lot more about these movements than you think. All of the comments under that video that were trying to red pill me, that is to expose me to information that would change my mind on the subject and make me more radical, none of that information was new to me. It was all stuff that I had seen before, and therefore it's not something that is going to change my mind now. As I said in the video, I don't even necessarily think that immigration is a bad thing, either for the country or for ethically in general. I'm just very frustrated by the conversation around race and immigration and culture. You may have seen the video I made subsequently of the Brexit celebrations in London, where I went around asking people what does it mean to be British, and I wasn't asking them to find out about Brexiteers or to sort of try and identify something about these people exactly. I was just honestly curious. I don't understand what our culture even is, what it means to be British in 2020, and I don't think many people in Britain do know that anymore. I think that British people are so afraid of being racist that they won't even try to claim that there are any things that are good about their own culture. It seems that it's impossible now to have a grown-up conversation about immigration. The discussion is framed as if it's between people who are against immigration and people who are in favour of it, but that's a completely false dichotomy. There's nobody who would object to one immigrant moving into the UK every year, and yet there is nobody who would be in favour of all 7 billion people in the world coming to the UK. The discussion around immigration is completely about how many people, how quickly, who these people are going to be, which countries they're going to be from, and how are they going to be sort of placed, or and what rights and privileges are they going to have when they get here. There seems to be so many layers of lies and half-truths around this conversation that it's impossible to have a real sort of conversation about it, to really get to the issues that matter. Instead, you have to break through several layers of things that aren't even true before you can talk about the things that are true. There are demographic predictions that say that the white native population of Britain, as we define that term, is going to be a minority in however many decades and years. Some people are completely fine with that being the case, and some people are not. But that is a debate that we can only have when everybody admits that that is what's going to happen. Or maybe it's not going to happen, and we need to talk about those projections and what the assumptions are that those projections are based on, and have a conversation about how accurate or reliable they are. And even just basic things that are a lot easier to measure, like how much immigrants pay into their taxes compared to how much they use in the public services those taxes pay for. How much strain are immigrants putting on schools and roads and in hospitals and the NHS, if any. Instead of having an intelligent conversation about the possible benefits and costs of immigration to the country, and now that it's happening, there's a big rush to come up with reasons why it's a good thing, and any reasons why it might be considered a bad thing are either so insignificant that it doesn't matter, or they're a racist conspiracy theory. And what really frustrates me is that immigration doesn't even necessarily need to be a good thing for our country for the British people to be in favour of it. In World War II, when the children of major cities were evacuated to rural towns to protect them from the war, from the Blitz, nobody tried to tell the rural areas that these children were going to be so beneficial for their economies and for their lives, or that they're going to bring cultural enrichment to these towns. The towns accepted the evacuees because they felt compassion for the children and they wanted to protect those children. And that is a very common sentiment in the UK for immigrants. I think we are a very compassionate and tolerant country, which is what a lot of people in the Brexit march said as well. If you could say to the British public that each immigrant is going to cost on average this much, and there's going to be this many downsides and this many upsides. Of course, that would be difficult to come to that sort of balance sheet, but if you could say something like that, then we could come to a decision as a country as to how many people we can take, how many we should take. But instead, the debate is just reduced to immigration is awesome, and the more we have of it, the better. Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party have promised to bring in a points-based immigration system in the future, so I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. As for the concerns that whatever we do with immigration now, we are still going to become a minority eventually, to be honest, I don't really mind that much. I guess we'll see, but I'm not very convinced by the anti-white conspiracy theories. It's just it's not on my list of top 5 concerns about the future, to be honest. I know there are a lot of people on Twitter who say things like, white people are awful, or white people need to die out, or, just generally saying bad things about the white race, but I really find it very difficult to get worked up about anything like that. It kind of reminds me of something my dad said to me when we were kids. My brothers used to torment me a little bit, as siblings do, and I remember going to tell my dad that my brother had called me an idiot, because I thought he shouldn't be doing that and that my dad should punish him. But my dad didn't even look up from what he was doing. He just said, "Are you an idiot?" And I said no, and he goes well, there you are then. there's no need to get up in arms about people saying bad things about you. It's just, getting all angry about it and coming up with, an anti-white conspiracy just, it just makes you look insecure, in my opinion. It's part of human nature to kind of resent people who are doing better than you are. And although it'd probably be better for those resentful people to let go of that kind of resentment, I'm not going to get upset about it and seriously start worrying about anti-white racism. I think that's just a little bit silly, in my opinion. So if you're one of my new subscribers, I hope you'll stick around and see what I produce next. But I'm sorry it might disappoint you. But I try to make videos that are unbiased, thoughtful. I try to see every side of an argument without judging the people who take that side. I hope you stick around and continue watching my videos, but if you don't, I completely understand. And I hope to see you again very soon. Please leave your comments below.